Take the journey into the unknown with SNX Radio as we delve into the enigmatic world of UFO sightings and extraterrestrial abductions. Join us for conversations with leading experts and individuals who have encountered these otherworldly beings, uncovering secrets about their experiences, contact stories, and the profound implications for humanity. Listen as we reveal the incredible narratives of those who have undergone alien abductions, shedding light on the psychological and spiritual impacts of these encounters. Explore the depths of consciousness and spirituality as we discuss how these experiences may connect us to something greater beyond our understanding.
Curiosity we find, courage ignites, unveiling truths intertwined. We embark on a journey into the vast unknown, where whispers of secrets and starlight are sown. Abductions calling, tales of fate unfold. In the realm of shadows, mysteries bold, Sasquatch roaming through the cosmic haze, cryptids lurking in the twilight maze. Set the truth free, let the echoes resound. In the dance of the galaxies, discoveries abound. SNX Radio, where the voices align, exploring the cosmos, crossing the line. Conversations blend with the leading experts, unraveling puzzles where the mind diverts. Paranormal whispers, a tapestry spun, cosmic connections, we've only begun.
Sudden shift to a heavy beat, alien sounds and echoes. A brief pause, creating suspense, heartbeats increasing.
Set the truth free, let the echoes resound. In the dance of the galaxies, discoveries abound. SNX Radio, where the voices align, exploring the cosmos, crossing the line. In every shadow there's a light that gleams. With each unspoken truth we chase the dreams. The mysteries of life and frequencies blend. Join us, dear traveler, let your spirit transcend.
Speeding up, sounds crashing like stars exploding.
Set the truth free, let the echoes resound. In the dance of the galaxies, discoveries abound. SNX Radio, where the voices align, exploring the cosmos, crossing the line. We delve into the cosmic lore, we open our hearts forever, seeking more. In the depths of our curiosity we'll soar. Courage to uncover, together we'll explore.
Truth awaits in the echoes of the unknown.
Unraveling the mysteries, secrets in the night. We travel through the cosmos, ready for the flight. Together we'll shine, casting shadows aside. In the heart of the rhythm where our dreams collide.
Join the sub-nation X quest, the truth is our guide. Into the vast expanse, it's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the groove surround us, everything everything's alright.
From the combination X quest, the truth is our guide in the vast expanse. It's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the groove surround us. Everything's alright. SNX radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spots. Heavy bass drops with tight beats.
Illuminate the shadows, the echo of our call.
On this roller rink we'll never fall.
Feel the energy rising, can you sense the spark? As we dive deeper into the cosmic arc.
Stories of the universe, mysteries unfold. In the heart of SNX, where the truth is gold. Every note we play, every line we write, crafting our legacy, shining ever bright.
SNX radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spots. Here in the spotlight, we're taking our turn. With the fire in our hearts, let the passion burn. SNX radio's call, ringing through the air. Together we rise, together we dare.
So join us now, let the rhythm flow. With SNX radio, we're ready to go. Unraveling the mystery side by side, we stand hand in hand. In this dance of truth, let the story expand.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of SNX Radio. I'm Coley. I'm going to be your host tonight. We have a very special guest, but before we get to our guest, we got to go through our chat. I always love our chat. So we have Dank in here. Welcome. I think you're new. Not sure if not. Welcome back. But yeah, I saw that you wrote. Definitely can't wait to hear more from John. I mean, he's got a pretty amazing stories. So Kitty Catty Whack, hey girl, it's nice to see you. Let's see. I know I saw Jamie, nice, welcome. Kurt W75. Oh boy, do we have Benno? Oh, I guess I saw Benno too. Yep, he's somewhere. I'm looking. I'm kind of just going through mine are popping up. Oh, Kurt, thank you so much. That's awesome. Right out of the gate. Mad Paximus, welcome back. Hopefully you guys are. Oh, Sonia Galactic's in the house. Hey girl. Oh, it's always nice to see you. And if I missed anyone, I'm so sorry. I will make it up to you. But we are going live on Facebook in 3 different locations: on YouTube, X, Twitch, Kick, and are we going on Rumble? I think I said Rumble. So without further ado, I'm going to get into it. Tonight, we have a very, very special guest. Like I said, I stumbled across some of his work and I reached out to him. I was like, well, this is awesome. He's an experiencer and he's got different ways of initiating stuff. But I'm going to go into his thing that just popped off my phone so I can give him a proper introduction here. It's always like the second show. I think I get clumsier. So, but I hope everybody's having a absolutely great kickoff to your weekend. And you definitely will be enjoying this. So if you didn't catch last show with Amy, and I don't know what the heck was going on, but anyway, it's definitely good. The ghost box we're playing with. So, but to get into John Kiehl is a master electrician based in Vermont with diverse professional background, spanning high stakes technical fields before returning to his home state for independent work. His life took a profound turn in 2006, a spontaneous kundalini awakening and an intense spiritual energy surge that remains active today. And we were kind of talking about this behind how brutal that awakening process can really be. He has since intertwined the technical expertise with deep explorations into UFOs, non-human intelligence, and paranormal phenomenon. So he encounters, let's see here. Oh, he's skill. Oh, okay, I just already kind of went through that. And he can tell you too about the Star Wars thing. After relocating, so it just really he's gone into orb encounters, angelic being encounters, other phenomenon like a broad spectrum of paranormal events and poltergeist like activities. So these fueled his belief that they're interconnected reality, which is where human consciousness plays a key role in initiating contact. And I definitely agree to him. There's definitely a point where these all roads cross. I can talk. Take a drink and I can talk. So, hey, spiritual. Hey, girl, welcome back. So I'm going to go without further ado. Let's bring on John and see what he's got to say. Let's see. Welcome, John. How are you? I don't know. You're muted. Yeah, I can't unmute you. Unfortunately, you must have muted yourself, but you have the mute button. Yeah,
Bingo.
there you go.
Got it.
It happens all
Sorry
the
about
time.
that.
No, don't worry about it. I do it all the time. Seriously, you're totally fine. But yeah, I kind of just gave a broad spectrum of what is, what you do, how you do it, but kind of get into it. Tell them a little bit more about you, what you do, how, what this whole process was like for you.
Sure. So like we were talking about before this started live, I grew up always fantasizing and back in the day I was really into Dungeons and Dragons with the kids in the neighborhood, and that type of thing. But I didn't get involved in human initiated contact like you. It came into my life. It was unexpected. I really didn't know what the hell was going on, to tell you the truth at first, because there was, like we had touched upon, it was coming from every angle, hot and heavy. But up until that point, I raised two daughters. My youngest just graduated high school. We traveled around quite a bit, worked in Alberta in the oil fields and for a few years. And then I think we were back in Vermont for a little bit, and then we were out west for like 8 or 9 years in California, Southern California, mostly.
Okay. I lived out there once, so the traffic.
Oh, I know. I found you could to cheat that, but I got a motorcycle, so the toolbox went on the back, and you can split lanes, right? So it's like,
gosh, you're one of those living on the edge of your seat.
Man, it was it's like slalom skiing. You could really get in trouble. It was too much fun.
It would be because the lanes there are smaller. The cars, it's like I didn't have a compact car like you probably should have. And those motorcycles, like the 101 would be backed up and they'd be like right through. And I'm like, how are they not hitting the
Yeah, you're supposed to go, I think it's only 10 or 15 miles per hour faster than the however slow the traffic ends up being.
Yeah.
But that never happens. Yeah.
I mean, were they going to send a helicopter for him? I mean, at that point, it's like
right.
There's no moving. If you've been stuck on that 101 in high traffic or there was an accident, you're not going anywhere.
Oh, so brutal. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It really is. So you did the whole Southern California thing, and were you out in the LA area, San Diego area, nice area?
So I was in most of that was Orange County. I didn't think we could afford the coast initially. So we had moved to Bakersfield for the first 2 years.
Okay. I flew into the airport. Yeah.
Oh, right on. And that's where I had my first UFO experience was in Bakersfield. I was
Really?
Yeah, I was working on a behind a used car car dealership by myself. It was broad daylight. I'm working on a photo eye. I'm on a ladder, and I get the inclination to look up. You know, that pull, that drop,
Yeah.
right? So I do, and now there's no way to like really tell how high up it was because there was no clouds and there wasn't any air traffic in the area. But there was a cube on its axis just slowly rotating, and you could see every angle of it as the sun
Oh
was
wow.
was reflect, so it would spark. You'd see the angle, you know.
Is that the cube that they were talking about with what is it, a triangle or a circle in the inside of it?
Yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't see that, but maybe it's part of that. Maybe it's not. You know, I think this stuff, if it wanted to, could look like a flying school bus on fire, like
Oh, for
blasting
sure.
some heavy metal bands playing. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
it could really do that.
Oh, for
But
sure.
that
I've seen them. No, I was just gonna say I've seen them twist and turn and go all sorts of, the
morph,
shape shifters. Yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was shocking. And then, I'm looking around to try to see if there's anyone else around that's witnessing this. And then, bam, this huge car accident happens while this is all happening. Did they see that too? I don't know, but I jimmy down the ladder, and I'm like trying to make it across the street to point up. And it's a good thing I didn't, because at this point in time, these people are all like, involved in a really bad car accident, and to have some guy look UFO, it's like,
Yeah. Squirrel. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But and then by the time I made it to the street, it was gone. It just blinked out. But that was my really my first conscious, awake encounter.
But it's when you encounter something, so how big would you say it was?
It's so hard to well, I guess I could get I would say anywhere from the size of a pickup truck to a RV, but and I'm just gauging that because it seemed like at low cloud altitude, but there isn't any clouds. But I don't see how I could see it definitively like that if it was any higher. Um,
Right. I think a lot of it is too, because I've seen them so strategically even block out their light, like almost like they were encapsulated. Whereas like nobody from outside of this, I think, could see it.
sure, sure, yeah. I've witnessed the same thing. I've witnessed them being semi-cloaked, if you will. So
Mhm.
almost like they know you're watching, so they want you to be able to see, but almost camouflage to the point where people on the perimeter, or elsewhere would not be able to see, if
Mhm.
that makes sense. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, it's it had yes, exactly. That's exactly what it was like.
yeah, so that was my first UFO experience. I know you had mentioned 2006, which was years earlier. The kundalini, and that was equally as weird. because it wasn't in my wheelhouse. I had no idea what it was. I was, I got into meditation and like contemplative prayer quite a bit then.
Sure.
And after about a year of that, some trauma happened in my
Lord, yeah.
life, and I remember I was kneeling in the kneeling position, and I was praying, but what I was praying was kind of like a mantra, but it was praying, and my legs kicked out and up, being like pushed. So you're kneeling, and my legs are being pushed towards me, but out at the same time and up. And so I'm an electrician, as you stated, and it feels like you're being electrocuted with like a liquid light, and your muscles constrict, and it would look like almost like you're having a convulsion,
Wow.
a little bit to like the outside, people outside watching this. So it's very odd, but I knew that it came from a good place because, I mean, how could it not? I'm praying and meditating, why would, but like you go to the wrong person and they're going to tell you it's demonic,
Yeah.
or it's, whatever. It's not of God. And I knew that wasn't the case, but it took me a few months and I had to find the information for myself. I actually met a guy online that it was happening to, and we both figured out what it was. He was he's now, it's an interesting story. He's a personal injury lawyer. He's got this huge firm down in Florida, but he had, before that manifested in his life, I think he got busted like selling a bunch of ecstasy in college, and he went to prison, and he turned his life around, and he got into meditation and prayer when he got out, and he followed his dreams, and he's a really successful lawyer now, but he had his kundalini awakening at the same time, and like I don't even know I couldn't tell you what forum or chat how I found this guy, but we both were sending information back and forth, and then
Wow. So, because this is 2006, so the internet's
Yeah.
not what it is today, obviously.
It's not what it is. No. So and I don't think that was by accident either, that I found Jimmy. So
Yeah. So, how did you find him? Like, just there was like AOL chat room. I don't even know back then. Where?
yeah, I if I asked him, he would remember. I'll send him a message. If I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one. I honestly don't know, other than that it was online. It was
I always feel like sometimes they can be planted. That's why I asked. Like, if they just out of nowhere. Because I've had a couple I didn't question, and then looking back at it, and I kind of put some pieces together.
Yeah, no, he's the real deal. He wasn't he wasn't like, a spook.
Yeah.
He I think it might have been this guy who was I think he was either a former Catholic priest, and I think he had this site called Shalom Place, and it was all about transformative, like, spiritual experiences, but he had an intense spontaneous kundalini awakening, and I think he started this site because there was so little information for so many people on, like, if you go to the wrong person while that's happening, you could end up in a psych ward, much like if you tell the wrong people what's going on with you, right? They may 5150 you or whatever it's called.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, this is no secret to my audience, and I have a case going to the Iowa Supreme Court for something just like this. They
Oh
watch my
no.
program, and I'm on the internal police or intel that between the officers and even the lady, I guess, that takes the phone calls, 911, and they called me a conspiracy theorist and all this, the whole 9 yards. And it was over a totally different thing. I think they were mad about, but they shouldn't be doing some of the things they're doing, and they don't like when you call them out. But that's exactly what can happen. Let me tell you, it's not a
Yeah.
fun deal.
Oh no, not at all. So they put you on some sort of like monitoring list.
Yeah, no, they're watching now.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they learn something.
That's what I say. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Hopefully they learn not to make false allegations about somebody. I mean, they got up there and just tore me apart on stuff, and I was like, "You got to be joking me!" Like, to the point, and they'll do anything. This is people's programming, and it's like, and if you say the wrong thing, they shouldn't have hired the pedophiles down at the local police department that it was come out, and then none of this would have happened. So it's like you speak out on stuff like that, and then
Yeah.
they came full-fledged after you, just like, it was all documented. I didn't do whatever, teach their own, but you don't have pedophiles working for the police station or hire them. And they did know
Yeah,
a known
that's
one, and that's where it all went
that's
south.
never a good idea.
No,
Jeez.
no. So that's kind of so they can watch this and they can hear. And then they were trying to like just smear. And when they came to the door, it was great because my real name is Nicole. Coley's just a nickname. It started off like whatever. I wasn't, it was just what people called me back when this all started happening. But they came to the door and they're like, Coley. And I said, oh, well, isn't that cute? Isn't that cute? Now you're calling me. Yeah. Did you guys enjoy
Oh,
the
gosh.
show? I mean, at least, yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a crappy thing. But I hope that they will learn their lesson, because once this clears, then they really are going to, because I'm telling you, like it is what you said, that's the reason people stay quiet. But then if you stay quiet and you're not coming out with and talking with the rest of us, it's putting the rest of us with targets on our backs. Like, if there's a bunch of people, and you're walking in line with the community, they can't do as much as they can when there's like one person here or one, and you just happen to jump on their radar, and there you go. Bye to the
Yeah.
loony
Yeah.
bin.
Thank God so many people have come forward,
Yeah.
with their and sharing their experiences, because you're right. If people didn't do that, it'd be so much more easier for them to quiet people, and I mean, it's what they used to do, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. The scare tactics, it's all about the intimidation, the scare tactics. And, it's just like, man, if you don't think this like resides in small little towns, what better place to reside in than small little towns? Because everybody's like, oh, why do you think that you have to be in I've lived in big locations. Like, there is so much, I don't know, smog in California. You're lucky if you can see your neighbor's tree. It's
Right.
like it doesn't work that way. And I really
Right.
do. And I think you said something earlier. It's definitely the person. I feel like there's such a connection. Like, when you talked about it before too, it's like I call it locking in. Like, you make eye contact with it, and then it's like anticipating you as much as you're anticipating it.
Sure. Absolutely.
What do you think your connection is? Is that how you felt like after? I mean, when you and John and I were talking about this back when this happens to you for the first time, and it's that like mine was 50 foot in diameter, I was 30 feet away, and it was no higher than 10, 15, maybe at most 18 feet above my head.
Yeah.
I mean, it
That's
was still
wild.
below the trees. Yeah. And I was like, you see something like that, and you don't walk away the same person. You
No.
don't walk away the same person. And I was, so many experiencers talk about that. Then I started I was researching, like it was my job. I had all these note cards. I mean, I had so much stuff going on. I have notebooks and notebooks full of notes. I mean, I thought I was losing it for a second. Then I would have probably agreed with them at some point, and they're going through the whole awakening, and that's brutal. And like
Right.
your life, the parts that you should have purged earlier, those are just being purged, it's just like everything is changing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like we had talked about before we went live, I think that's a big part of it is maybe that's, you know, Coley, that could be um that could be the reason for it, I think that this is to awaken someone, not only to the larger fact that um, these things exist, and that the universe and this reality is so much stranger and awe-inspiring and wilder and thrilling that we could possibly imagine. But I think the part that how you just said purge, that you I mean, it sounds like it must have been a mixed bag for you as well, because in the beginning, because that's what it was for me, and it was coming from every angle that uh it was too much. It was
Yeah, oh
too
yeah.
much that I had to go inward. I had to take a hard look at myself and get grounded and, like you said, purge,
Yeah.
um, because my little head couldn't take it. It was
Well, I don't know whose head could wrap it. There's certain parts of this. It's like you have to really sit and digest because I mean, it's like all these things you may have thought were possible or may exist, but you just, would I don't know. I was just comfortable with the paranormal. I thought that was great. Just do my little paranormal thing, and then yeah, but it opened up such. I don't think the same way. I mean, if you were to take the person I was before and put side by side who I am right now, we wouldn't match up. We definitely wouldn't match up.
yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
It just like there's things like what's right, what's wrong. And I felt like, before I probably could have, but no, I'm like out there as that warrior, like, and I definitely wasn't quiet about it because they told me I was here for communication and I thought I could get my part done. So I just asked everybody I came in contact with. My friends would just cringe. They'd be like, "Do you have to ask?" And I'm like, yeah.
That's
Do I want to
awesome.
go back to
Yeah,
normal? Like, okay,
yeah.
like I'm gonna ask. Like, let's rip the band-aid off here. But it was so crazy. Even people that didn't know would come up to me and like I remember we were in a different state and this guy comes running up and he's like has to tell me about his UFO experience. And I was like, how did he know? Like, unless he goes around and he's doing the same thing I'm doing, trying to get
Right,
this part done.
right, right,
It's just like
right.
you're magnets for one another.
Yeah, yeah. Magnets for, I think, people that um, have had the same experiences, but you can also be a magnet for just crazy in general too.
No, I am the crazy magnet too. And I always have that personality. Like I have my pilot's license. I love zip line. I'm out doing stuff that's dangerous. Let's say like, that type of personality. And so this
Sweet.
was definitely the most intense experience that I had ever had. But it's such an adrenaline, like it's just a whole experience. Like you're just charged with electricity. It's the only way I can put it.
Absolutely, absolutely. But it's still, when it happens, it's still there's still the thrill and the awe, the great sense of awe and a lot of gratitude, but the what the hell's going on and and the fear factor is not really there anymore.
Right.
which is wonderful, and like we had touched on before, it's so sick and crazy to say, but like the adrenaline that when I was being hit from every angle, it as scary as that was at times, it it's a rush, and,
Yeah, yeah.
and I hate to
Living on
use
the
that.
edge.
I wouldn't want to relive it. I really wouldn't. But there's a part of me that, oh gosh, I don't even want
Would
to
you give the experience?
speak at life. Yeah, that like I missed the ride a little bit. But when I really think about it, no, I don't. It's just it's embedded in me, the adrenaline that
Yeah,
came along
yeah.
with it.
And you won't ever I think that's a part of it too. It's like I was out there sky watching there was a point, I'd say for the first couple of years every single night I was out there. I knew every tree, I knew every light, I knew every like flight, it's like I knew every piece of that. And so I knew it well enough, like where I'd go out and then like you said too, like I started to try different things out. I was looking at your location of where you saw the first one. I don't know if you've heard of Christos Rapallo. He's on Monterey Bay. I know it's a couple hours away from Bakersfield, but it's right on the same coastline that he was seeing which you had described, the cube with the
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never heard of him.
He has the
Um,
curse of the man who sees UFOs. It's like a Netflix documentary. He's funny, like he's crazy, he's funny, but he just loves, I mean, just every minute of it. But it was right in like I mean within a couple hours, but yeah, same thing he used to describe. So,
Wild. I've only I've heard of other people seeing the cubes, but I've only spoken to one guy, uh, nice guy's Canadian, and I do not want to. I'm just the worst butcher when it comes. My girlfriend will laugh if she sees this, but she may be watching my now. I'm just gonna say hi to her, okay?
hi, what's her
Hey,
name?
Marla.
Hi, Marla.
Yeah, I'm skipping out on Joe Bob Joe Bob Briggs' last drive-in show. Have you ever watched that on Shudder?
No, no, it sounds good though.
Yeah, it's great. But anyway, I butcher last names, and
Me too.
Michael Faciola. I'm so sorry, Mike, if you watch this, man. But he's making a documentary right now on UFOs. But his first encounter was a black cube, I think in
Oh wow.
Toronto, as he was walking down the street. But it's interesting because I think these things can appear um, to a whole crowd of people, to everyone involved. I think it can also just be projected into your consciousness only.
Mhm.
Um, and while there is something there physically present, and then also it could be uh, a virtual thing that was sent to you too as well. There's so many different ways that this can happen. So essentially, yeah,
I was just gonna
because
say that people don't realize, but when a lot of times when I would communicate with them, it wasn't just words. Like I think the majority of it was they sent pictures like of the VR, and that's exactly how. Because I would ask, like, they would let me ask questions, like, how did you? One of my questions is like, how do you experience like memories? Do you have memories of what was before? And it's all structured holographic, so they don't tangle it. Is the way they showed me. So I don't know. Like I said, I chalk it up for
was
what
it
it is.
was it like watching a uh almost like a film
Mhm.
in your mind? Yeah.
Yeah, you could well, that was during one of the experiences, but it was like almost like what they were showing me, like almost it reminded me of like show. I'm trying to think of what it was. Quantum Leap, where that guy would come in
Sure.
and he's like, he wasn't really in that dimension, but then he was like always like kind of creating, like that's what it felt like. So they restaged a whole like memory, and then it was like you could hear each individual, so it wasn't like our jagged memories. Like they actually relived that memory.
Wild, wild. Yeah. I've had in a waking state something similar, but it was like, well, it was like watching a film, in your mind. And remember, I watched a Google Maps. It showed Google Maps. At this point, I was in Riverside, California,
Oh
and
yeah.
it showed the pin lift up. I watched it float through the air, and then it dropped right in Joshua Tree, and then I
Ooh.
saw this mathematical formula. And I was later on that day, I was researching time and time travel and dimensional stuff, and sure as shit, I see the formula that I was shown after I had that Google Maps display. So I
Mhm.
took a screenshot of it, and then 2 weeks later, I receive, and I didn't post this, I receive an email from Google Maps that says, "Thank you, John, for your contribution." And it had the screenshot, and it said like over
Oh
5,000
wow.
views. I'm like, what in the hell? Right? Yeah. So
Wow.
I know. So then I go out to Joshua Tree. This is like this is
Had you
further
been
down.
there before or no?
I hadn't. I had not. This is after a lot of the heavy duty stuff had already happened. This is like
Right.
when things were toning down. And so I go to Joshua Tree, and like I hike out. It's like sun's coming down, and I almost got lost on my way out of there, to tell you the truth, because I had a headlight on my head from work, and I hiked up off where was I? I was in Lost Horse, Lost Mine Trail, something like that. But I hiked off the beaten path, and I went up these cliffs, and then I got on top of this bluff. It was kind of like a mini mesa, and zero cell phone reception, nothing, like not even a pin, right?
Right?
And I'm just out there, and then my phone kicks on, and this song starts playing, and I recognize this song as Amazing Grace, but it's being sung in Cherokee Indian. And
Oh wow.
I found that,
So were you in Native American grounds? Is that what it's I guess I didn't know
n-
Joshua
n-
Tree was that.
um, I don't know the history of Joshua Tree. I'm sure partly it
That's
was just,
where all activity happens. I really
yeah,
do
it
like
was just, and I didn't see a UFO, or any orbs that night. But
how crazy though. It
I
summons you there
yeah,
is what I feel like.
yeah, I was just following the breadcrumbs. Um, but yeah, that was a wild night, especially
Oh,
coupled
it
with
is on ancestral land, the Native people. Joshua Tree National Park is.
cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Such a
Yeah.
beautiful place.
Inside
But
the Indian Cove. Oh yeah. It looks like it. I th- I've been to a couple places and I don't play around on I plant trees, do whatever you got to do. They are not playing. They are not playing.
Yeah,
It's
it was
it's
rough getting
intense.
out of there.
Yeah, I mean, they're so connected to the land. Like we had to go down and like unincorporate. I've been to some of the craziest places since the UFO stuff, places I never thought I would be or go, and out there just chasing it, one lead to the next.
Yeah, yeah, that's great.
So we were talking behind and about initiating contact. I know like I have my own little, I don't want to say ritual, like, but I have my own, you know, I guess ritual that I do kind of when I'm trying to initiate contact. What is your like when you go out there and you're going to initiate contact? I guess how do you start it? Is it meditation? Is it thought, intention?
So, one thing that it, I do it a variety of ways, but it's definitely one component is always meditation and trance, but that is so one thing that happened to me after my angelic encounter, and I say that completely, you can look at that religiously or not, it doesn't matter. It's the simplest way to put what I encountered. Is and we can talk about that later because it was a massive UFO event the next night, and they tie in together, and I can go into that later. But um, it is so this weird thing happened. Any star I now look at, once I concentrate on it for within 2.5 seconds, it's going to start to move. Now, clearly, the star isn't moving, but it's going to go it's like crazy. It's like someone's taking a laser pointer, and if
Mhm.
that was the star, is going like this, right?
Yeah.
And it looks almost like how some people have described, like you know, I guess um light language or angelic script it looks like it could almost be that if I was to try to trace the movements on a piece of
Mhm.
paper. but but what it's really, I think, doing is once I and the interesting thing, Coley, is it'll happen to certain people that are with me out there, and then they're like, what the hell's going on with the star, you know?
Yeah.
So it like somehow transfers over. But
That's
so when you ask me what do I do when I'm out there, well, I'll hone in on one star, and it'll start doing this, right? And sometimes I'm listening to music, right, while I'm
Mhm.
doing this, and it just helps calm me. And I'll I may be praying on in my head at the same time.
Sure.
Sometimes I'll be doing a mantra uh, while doing this, but it always starts with the star starting to bounce around, and then it's and clearly, like I said, the star's not moving. It's just something that's happening in my consciousness, but it's not like is that kind of sort of happening. It's like, oh my God, right?
Mhm.
And at least in the beginning, until I got used to this. But then what will happen is some sort of like almost like a lock will happen with the light, and then it will start to travel all the way to my right field of vision, and you get this pulling. I get this pulling in my chest, and it makes me feel like I'm traveling that way.
Mhm.
If that makes any sense, and then it will go all the way back over to the other side of my vision, and you can almost see the sky, like the stars now in place, not going zigzaggedy, but it's moving across like that. So you're staring that way, and you're just watching it go that way. So something happens where I get into that zone by just doing that, and then
So
And
that's
then
kind of like okay. So have you ever seen? Do you see spirits or seen ghosts?
um I've had some ghost encounters, and I've had what I would say would be um
Did it start before your experience or after
the the
being able to
the
see like paranormal?
um it started before I had the angelic visitation, but it all happened. Well, that for beside no, there may have been a couple times. I still don't know.
It's a common thing, you know that with experiencers.
Yeah, no, I've heard. I'm just trying to. I'm looking back at a couple experiences in my life, and it was almost too lifelike. But it's to like not rule out that it was an actual person,
Mhm.
but the real hardcore scene into that realm happened before a few, like probably 3 or 4 months for me before I had.
So I bet you had something happen. I bet it started before you even knew it started. Either that or was giving you the tools you need for whatever reason. Even Jeff Silver says that he couldn't before his like ET encounter, and he right then he could. And it's crazy, but it's a commonality between all of the people who have these kind of experiences.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've just I like I'll give you an example, and this is where like I don't know if it's because I attract crazy, right? So
I do too. Yeah.
right, that like I'm up out in the woods, up by this place that's called the Pinnacle. It's a place where like when you were in high school, you'd you know uh, uh, you know back in the day when high school kids had keg parties,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You
right.
would lug a keg of beer 2 miles up out in the woods to get away from the
Oh
cops,
yeah.
right?
Oh
Right.
yeah, we did.
So it's right. So it's one of those places, and it's up on this bluff, and it's it's just out there, but you're high up. And I was all set up in my gear, and I'm by myself, and this guy comes out of nowhere, and he starts to have a conversation with me, and then he says, I was talking just briefly about how I think the phenomenon is, benevolent. And he goes, those aren't your friends. He goes, friends do this. And then he opens up his wallet, and he's got this huge wad of cash, right? And I'm like, what the hell? And then he goes, and by the way, I died right over there 10 years ago. He goes, but I'm very much alive. And then he puts out his hand for me to shake it. So I shook his hand. It was a
Right?
physical hand. I wanted to feel that. So was that just some guy out of his mind? Some chance encounter? It's just really odd.
Weird
You know,
timing.
weird timing. Right. And like, what the hell was that about? Taking his wallet out. Like,
Y- I don't
you
know.
know.
I don't. I'm more and more. I don't think there are coincidences. I really don't. I just don't think we know the scenario well enough if we think there are.
Yeah, yeah. No, we don't. And after my first, heavy duty encounter, like up, you know, feet away from me,
Hmm.
yeah, then there was a time I was there's like a long, drama how this all unfolded, how I ended up in this place, but I was in a place you don't want to be in. And I wasn't I'm not a veteran, but I was with um probably 50. They considered this one wing the veterans wing. It's a long story, Coley, but I could see a few of the, well, two in particular, There was a lot of PTSD, a lot of trauma.
Oh yeah.
These guys, and these guys are younger primarily. There's a few older ones, but mostly like 35 from like Afghanistan and Iraq, right?
Yeah.
But there was a couple that and one is my friend to this day, but um, I could see what I could only describe as it was them, but it was a really ugly. It was like a negative attachment on them, and they would start convulsing.
Yeah.
So no one else has seen this, but I mean, contorted faces, sticked out,
Yeah.
and vibrating like wildly, and it
Crazy.
wasn't something like overlaid on top of them. That's what
Mhm.
my eyes are seeing, and I think I was just seeing like the truth of some not their truth, but something that had attached themselves to it, maybe is what I can
I
um
think the trauma, I think with anything like that, it's there's because I had PTSD too. My father's son died suddenly. I drove with a dead man when I was like 8 years old. That's really when it started. So he died while driving. So it's like those experiences. So I don't have it like the same way somebody from maybe the military would have it, but they carry a dark, some of the stuff that went on. I think that they were given orders. They went by the orders. Then that's nobody. I thank them for their service. I appreciate what they did and the sacrifice they made. But I don't know as if you can walk out of those kind of battlegrounds without something.
sure, yeah. It you know Not everyone has the same experience in there, but the guys that saw like combat for sure,
Mhm.
and some, I'm sure everyone is affected, and some people maybe deal with it better than others.
So do you think you were seeing what other people couldn't see?
I don't think everyone else around me wasn't witnessing that. It only lasted for 5 minutes on both these two guys. But and the interesting thing is Mike, who's my friend to this day. He, minus the UFOs, he had gone through a really similar experience with negative things, that in the same way, he has since, in the same way how UFOs have helped us to
Yeah.
purge, right? That experience, if you live through it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Nothing will motivate you, to clean house, I guess, and like seek spiritual help and wholeness than going through like the most terrifying experience of your life.
Oh, for
I mean,
sure. For sure.
so like, even though, oh, you know what, he did have a UFO experience with his family. That's right. I forgot about that.
No, that's telling.
I completely forgot about that. But not, it was, but the theme was there, you know. Um, there's like a phenomena, people, call it like gang stalking, right?
Yeah.
Where much of it sounds like, you
Twitter.
know, yeah, and much of this, yeah, much of it sounds like it's how should I say, delusional, or something like that, right? However, when um uh Mike and I had been through something similar, and a
Mhm.
lot of those guys actually had, and I think that it's almost like what's going on the inside can manifest on the outside.
Oh, can it ever?
Can it ever? And then if you
Mhm.
start playing internet doctor to you, right? And you're like, what in the hell's going on? You know, I got
Eat it.
weird guys coming up to me, and and this is, and then I'm seeing these UFOs, and I'm seeing the surveillance, right? And then
Yeah.
you start trying to figure it out by listening to a bunch of people, and no one's got to figure it out.
No. Mm-mm.
Then it'll, that type of stuff that you're looking into, each avenue you go down can start, especially when you're in like a heightened state of awakening and you're coupled with panic mode. I think it gives more energy to it actually manifesting, you know? So like it's spiritual, I think, in nature for sure. But
Oh, definitely. There's definitely a spiritual like aspect of it. There's no
yeah,
doubt about it. There
yeah.
is no doubt about it. And it's crazy because it's like you assume all these people, I did anyway, like the MUFON people, you know, I'm calling MUFON Dave, and I'm like, and especially after I had something that just completely jarred me, and now I've you know, I've seen and come in contact with something I never thought I would see or come in contact with, and then I was like, what do I do? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? Like, there's no handbook and it has chapter 2. Like, you're joking me, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, come
Right,
on.
right,
He's like, can
right.
you see through the veil? And I was like, oh, this is great. No, this is great. You know,
That's
I see through the
classic.
veil.
That's
Yeah.
that's so classic. You know, it's like watching Poltergeist, and like they show up at the house, you know, and they're like, "Well, what do we do now?" Well, we have no idea. You know,
Right.
we're just here to document, right? Oh
Oh no,
gosh.
yeah. Oh, I hear her get talking to the guy. He's colorblind. Sorry, Dave, if you're listening, but you did unfriend me one time for this. So, but this is a truth. This is a truth. And he was so busy, like counting the space in between, and we had something low. And I said, Dave, check right here. He's like, that's too. I can't remember what word he used for it, but it's basically stationary. I said, what? That thing is gonna move. Watch. By the time he was down measuring the distance between the telephone cords, the thing had gone. And he's like, oh, well, I guess. And I was like, well, that's probably going to be it for the night, Dave. You don't usually come when something's that low and slow and right about, you don't come across a multitude of them usually. Like, let's just pack it up now. But yeah, I thought, man, but it starts to make you really feel a little bit vulnerable, I think, in so many ways. Like, how the hell, like, does anybody have the answers? Because I assume somebody out there would have them. But I think it's you and me and the other experiencers that really have the answers. And I mean, we haven't gotten to a point where we can connect those dots together. Not
Yeah, absolutely, Coley. When the first guy, I got lucky that when after I wish I had someone to talk to, other than my ex-wife when I was going through that. She tried to get me 5150. I remember that.
Oh, screw
Oh,
her.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. She called the cops. She's like, he's nuts. Get him out of here.
Oh
Right? Oh
God.
man. Yeah. Anyway. I got a hold of, have you ever heard of Ray Hernandez?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So he was willing to talk to me. I had emailed him. I don't even know how I stumbled across his name, but he was like the number one initial help when
He had a database he was putting together.
yeah, a huge database
Yeah,
that
he
he
shut one of
did.
my projects down. That old
Oh, I'm
vendor
sorry to
Ray.
hear that.
No, that's okay. It's all fair game. But I don't think he knows it was mine. But he was getting all the data. So that's all I know about, that he had a ton of experiencers data, like that
Yeah,
he
and,
was obtaining.
he did with they put together like a worldwide survey, but he's an experiencer himself, and he just helped me make sense of it all, you know, just
Was he?
reassuring me.
He was supposed to come on the show, and it was somebody had gotten into my Facebook account and deactivated it. Just stuff
Oh
that happens
no.
in this
Oh
business.
no.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I had missed it, but it's not. I've heard Ray does really good work. I really do. I've heard that
Yeah,
before.
no, you should try to get him on again. I'm sure he would. I saw recently he had moved to Colombia, but
Yes, he was. Yes, he did say that.
he's I think he's very much still in the scene. I know he made a documentary. Um,
He's joined the cheap rent down there. I think he said he's paying like under 600 and he like got a nice villa and like I was like, wow,
I
that's
saw
awesome.
that. I saw that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Good
that
for
must have been
him.
around the time my account got shut down because I was in communication with him then to come on and then the schedule got all screwy. So it was my fault. I should have had it on hard copy. But
I'm sure he'd be willing to do it. He's a nice guy.
yeah.
But yeah, so in talking with him and then probably 20 late 2018 or 2019, I I I was on something small on Facebook, and I never really was a big social media guy before this, really. I
Right.
just I want it was a means to an end, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I started having some conversations with Christopher Bledsoe, and that really helped me as well. Uh, there was
Yeah,
some.
he's really in the spotlight right now too. You should do you know Jeff Silver?
I don't.
You should check him out. He aligns pretty closely with Chris.
Does
And
he?
yeah, I think you would really some of the stuff that you're describing, some even Benno in
I
the chat
may
earlier said,
I might even be friends with him on Facebook. There's, as you probably have, there's like I've friended and
yeah, I've got 5,000 of them.
yeah, I don't
Right?
know everybody, you
No,
know.
no.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
but I'll have to check him out.
Yeah, I can open a chat. I'm more than happy to open a chat. He's been on my show probably like 7 times. I really relate to him so much on his experiences and mine. And he talks about the whole awakening. And he was like at one point living in his car and like, all of these things were, and then he had exited like working for bank and entrepreneur and just, he had to cut, just everything changed. It's a
Wild.
pretty yeah, it helps put stuff in perspective. It really does. He's very grounded. He's a super nice person. But I'd be more than happy to open up a chat because I think he'd be good for you to talk to and kind of help, even though it's like I think you're probably at a place. It sounds like that you made sense. It's anybody. That's why I'm so fortunate to be able to sit in this spot that I get to talk to so many different people one on one, and I get to ask those questions. So it's easier to put together some of those pieces, where I think like, man, that would suck not to have that resource.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're in a unique spot to like we said before we went live, like it's just because your experience or my experience was, heavy leaning on one component or maybe pointedly in one direction of it, it doesn't mean that by any stretch of the imagination that this is all just one group or one thing that's happening to everyone or but it's all part of the same phenomena dealing with consciousness, but it's but there's so many different things going on,
Oh,
I mean,
definitely.
you'll have people that have had just gray experiences, right, with gray
Mhm.
beans and some people can just get tunnel vision, I think, where they think it's all extraterrestrial 100%, or if you had an angelic experience, well then you must only think it's angels and demons, and it's because of your religious upbringing, which I have none,
Right.
or that type of thing. And I don't think it's fair to um to I don't think it's fair of anyone to say that anyone's personal experience is not validated, or that, and I don't think it's a fair statement to say that it's all just this is it, because who the hell are we,
Right. But I think that the duality is just kind of how our brains are. It's like this or that, one or the other. It's not always like that.
hot
It's
and
not always yes
cold.
or
Yeah.
no. Yeah, it's not always it's right or wrong. I mean, there's a lot of gray area in between there. So you just have to
Right.
think, some of this stuff, it's like I started getting into like cryptids and things like that. And it's like even, understanding all of that, it's just like I think that we have to assume there's a spectrum of good and bad on all ends and whatever lies in between. I mean, it used to drive me a little bit crazy when people be like, oh, well, just they're ascended and they're, and I'm like, do we know that's because we've never, gone that route before, that makes them a good person? Like, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I don't think that works that way.
Yeah. It's it's like having this spontaneous kundalini awakening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I any more enlightened than you? No. Am I just as capable of being a complete asshole and screwing up and owing
We're
apologies?
human, of course.
Yeah, I'm not floating down the street.
Right. I'm like, this is an experience, right? I want to experience it to
Yeah.
its full, so some of that like comes with consequences, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, it's not like it's. I would say not harming yourself or somebody else, like, is really. I mean, I don't see the harm in it, but yeah, no, you can't ever put. I don't think you can, especially on this planet, put anybody on that pedestal. I don't care who they are.
No.
Yeah, we're here to make mistakes. That's how we learn.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just learn, because every time you go whip back around that circle, that same mistake, it just gets harder and harder. But I think a lot of this. It's like I said in the beginning. I was in a totally different. I was not happy, but it was comfortable because I had my house and I had this, and it's like I could go to this, just do all these things. Like, but it literally everything that I had known, I guess, in my heart of hearts, was not right, and was like, it gone. It was not like slow process either. It was just like flushing it out. And
Wow.
it was, so it's like a lot of change. You deal with a lot of grief and a lot of loss. And then it seems like, I mean, I could be wrong, but I haven't talked to an experiencer yet that hasn't gotten through this or hasn't hit this pathway, but through trauma. And that's the way in. And that's where you have to really keep yourself in check and balance,
Yeah, it definitely trauma and these experiences. It's almost like it cracks something open,
Yeah.
and then it's like left to you to whether to play internet doctor to yourself and continue to spin your wheels and suffer, or to change, right?
Right. No, that's true. You can keep going. You can keep going another round, but for some reason it seems easier to do that than it is to break out of it. Human nature. A spiritual ascension is there. They're really wondering about your angelic encounters. They want to know if you'll talk more upon that.
Sure. So this was a time period in we were living in Laguna Hills, and I was building Star Wars, and it was during a when I say Star Wars in Disneyland.
Yeah, I know. AI picked up.
I'm not old enough, to have worked on Reagan's
Oh,
Reagan's project. Oh gosh, but
I was like, when you said that, I must have like just because I read somewhere about the Star Wars before, but I didn't even put it together. And then I was like really reading it, and I was like, whoa.
yeah, that was funny. I'm glad
Yeah,
you fixed
AI is
that. Thank
not. They
you.
don't tell the truth. Apparently,
Yeah.
they come to some pretty bold assumptions, to say the least.
Oh no. I can see how you would think that. But uh so this was during a time period when so a lot of things had already happened within my house. And it first started with it was kind of like it was an outer body experience, and I know a lot of us have had those where you're floating, it's an outer body experience, and like you're um uh right when you lay down, right, or something like that. But this felt different in the sense that I hadn't even fallen asleep. I mean, I literally just laid in bed, and then boom, it felt like something picking up my, I'll just say light body, and then I felt me being pushed vertical, and now I'm standing up next to my bed, and I feel this energy come, and I can sense my light body, and I can see all around the room, and I feel it go all the way down through me, almost like a scan to the bottom of my feet, and then back up, and then I was lifted and then put right back in my body, right?
Oh wow.
And so I'll be honest with you, it felt like it was almost some kind of technology. Maybe,
Mhm.
right? Maybe this is all conjecture, right?
Right.
And and then there was I was being after that um I started noticing um surveillance, and this can sound so like, guy on his, walking on eggshells. It's paranoid and just, making shit up in his own head. But there was this. I'm trying to paint a picture for how this all worked up to the angelic, right?
Right. And you don't have to
And
worry. I get what you're saying. Like you don't want to one end make yourself, but it's a safe place here. Believe me. Like we all like,
oh
you know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
no,
Like just so
I'm
if
I'm
you were feeling that way, I don't want you to feel that way.
no. So thank you for saying that, but I guess I'm saying to like maybe for anyone's listen, probably most of your listeners have had these experiences, maybe not exactly like this, but something to do with the paranormal or something. So it's probably more of an open-minded crowd, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I am saying this for the layman that when you're already on a little on edge because you're having really weird experiences, you might get a little hyper vigilant to your surroundings too, right?
Mm-hmm.
That being the case, um, I started noticing it more, and random cars coming by and then like taking a picture, and things of that nature. And during the same time period, I met this guy randomly in a nice part of Orange County, and he'd always be at this Brugger's Bagel Bakery. I'd bring my
I
daughter
used to
was
work there. Yeah.
did you?
In high
That that that
school. Yeah.
that,
I
that was
love
from
British
my
Bake.
hometown of Burlington, Vermont, really.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And initially it was. So I'd always meet this dude there, and he'd always be there, and he got my phone number. I think he said he wanted me to do some side work, and I really wasn't into it because I was working my ass off at building Star Wars and fighting traffic, although I did have a motorcycle so I could, cut through split
Yeah, I was
lanes,
gonna speed through it, death speed through the
speed through
traffic.
it. But my during this time frame, like my ex was kind of prone, not kind of like she was fell into like a really dark place, depression, but it was mixed with rage, right? It
Oh.
was scary. And um and I'm not, trying to paint myself out to be some golden boy of a husband. Okay, that's not what I'm saying here. I'm just saying um what was going on in the house. And so um so this guy, I was trying to find her a doctor, and like in years before she had gotten uh in any event, he knew intimate details that shocked me, like medical details, um and he said it in a way, this was first by phone, that to clue me in on the fact that he knew things, that he shouldn't know about me.
Mm-hmm.
um and then so um I'm at Brugger's, got my daughter. He was in there. This is after like a month of these interactions with him, a couple phone conversations. He chases me out, not chases me, but he walks briskly out to the car after I put my daughter in the car, and start it up. I put the air conditioning on. He raps on the window, so I get out, and I had just gone down to San Diego with my family for the weekend previously, right? So keep that in mind. So he says to me, he's like, you want to hear a joke? And I'm like, what's that? He's like, so there's this guy. He goes, everywhere he goes, he's being chased all over town.
Oh
He
God.
brings his family down to San Diego. He's being followed. He goes to work up in Anaheim, which is, where Disneyland is. He's
Yes.
being followed. He goes, everywhere he goes, everyone's chasing him all over town, and everyone thinks he's crazy. But what's really going on is the military's trying to recruit him. And he just gives me a look like that. And I'm waiting for the punchline, I'm like, so,
Or
so,
say I don't do the job of the government.
yeah, well, I put the kibosh if there ever was an opportunity. And, I wondered what the hell this guy was about for years. I thought maybe perhaps because I had worked in nuclear power, and I had clearance to do those things. And you got to jump through a bunch of hoops, but they make it sound so much like they call everybody that knows you, that knows you, that knows you. Like they go
Yeah.
like 4 rows down, right? However, they're really after a bunch of crazy dumbasses willing to go in a dry well and suck up radiation. Okay, so at the
They want to make
at
sure
the
that you can live long enough to go out there.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're just smart enough and crazy enough to make a little more money and get a lot of dose, right?
Yes.
But
Yeah. You
so
don't need to worry about the future. Right.
yeah, exactly. It's they make it seem like it's this big security protocol you go through, but in any event, I mean, but it's pretty intense. Long story short, I thought maybe trying to put that together, that maybe because they needed some, because I'm a union electrician, that they needed manpower perhaps to work on something that they were screening people for, that was maybe a hush hush, they're building something, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure it happens all the time. They need manpower, and maybe that's what that was about. I don't know.
Well, they kind
I
of go
don't.
hand in hand, like Area 51. That was a bunch of nuclear, like they were, scanning them when they came in and out, doing all sorts
Well,
of things. So
yeah, yeah. And then when you hear, the Department of Energy has, the UFO umbrella is like, falls underneath the Department of Energy, which the nuclear plants fall underneath the Department of Energy. So who the hell knows?
yeah,
But
really.
but I never stuck around long enough to find out. Okay, so
Right?
during that whole time period, I did what you should not do. I
Tried masking your location.
I tried doing that, and I downloaded a Russian-made app
Oh yeah.
so that my phone couldn't be stingrayed, which, so now, like,
You've
and all,
evaded one agency and you got 10 after you.
yeah, then you open yourself up to, well, who the hell's this guy,
Ugh.
downloading a Russian-made app that was hard to get, so his phone can't be stingrayed, which all that does is it gives you privacy with your text messages, and I don't even know what the hell I was thinking. It's not like I needed that, but I was just kind of like poo-pooing, and it bounces your cell. It would bounce my text messages from cell tower to cell tower. It would look like I was coming from all these different cell towers, and it was also for a location, but it was foolish. It was foolish. I don't recommend anyone do that. Okay, so if you think the man is following you, don't do that. So
You know what? This is America, and it shouldn't be the reality, but that is the reality.
that's the reality. Yeah, yeah, don't do that. So I did that, and
I do stupid stuff like that. Now
so
I'm
I
thinking,
think
man, maybe I was back then. Who knows?
so I think I intensified everything that. So now I had, one maybe like small group of people potentially doing this, and then I opened myself up to that. So I ended up, instead of trying to curtail what I assumed is surveillance, it blossomed. It got bigger, right?
Yeah.
So that
Right.
that will add to your nerves as well. And then I had this um this these things happening at my house that it was like you could cut. It was the air was so like
Oh yeah. I've
my
heard this
daughter
described so many times. Yeah.
my daughter even remembers it. She's like, that was the weirdest place. She's like, there was something wrong with that place. Like you could cut the air with a knife.
Yeah.
It was. I'm
Ooh.
getting goosebumps just thinking about
When
it.
I got that, I had clients with reactive attachment disorder, but there was a kid that he was killing animals already, which they do before the humans. And we'd go in there, and I asked the other therapist, there were two of us because they were brothers that go in together, two therapists. And I was like, why is it I can't breathe? She's like, I can't either. I was like, the air is so thick in there, and I can't even explain this. But there was an emptiness to him. Like he wasn't, lights were on, nobody home.
Yes, that's scary. That's scary.
I'm
And
just wondering if it has to do with that, like, emptiness or lack of light or whatever is coming in there is not good.
not good. But and I think that it was everything, all the negativity. So my hypervigilance, thinking I'm protecting my family, like when I'm not. Like, I mean, I even put fake security cameras outside our
Because
place.
they never know though. I thought about it too. I thought about it. They're like at the dollar store, and this is before they were really
yeah. Oh,
like,
it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It was such a feeble attempt,
oh,
Yeah. And so I got all this going on, and then remember how I said like these things can manifest that, and then I'm being hit with, like, you've heard of like directed energy, right? So but
did you ever get zapped?
Yeah, but it's not. I don't. I don't. It's all conjecture. I don't think there was someone in the apartment next door with a microwave weapon aiming it at my head. I mean, who the hell am I? And I don't think those types of things.
Oh, you would be surprised who you
I,
are.
yeah, right, but I don't think that there's concerned citizens in my
No, no, no,
neighborhood
no, no.
beaming me. Like, you know what I mean? But
Definitely not a citizen, I wouldn't say. I would say the
right. But
government.
so that I had that experience. Was it? I've heard stories of uh with kundalini that when it's because I had ignored it for I hadn't grounded myself with that energy, and it's really potent, and you really need to stay consistent with practices that have it go through your chakras, right? To
Mhm.
because it can bunch up and then explode, right? So um I've heard descriptions of how it can feel like your face is on fire and stuff similar, but this felt at the same time, I'm researching everything under the sun, so I'm also hearing about this other stuff. And so I don't know what happened, but that happened a couple times, and it was not pleasant. It was not pleasant at all. And
Was that when you were in California?
yeah, that this is all while I'm working at building Star Wars, and then my
And
my
then you're at
ex,
Disney. Oh.
yeah, and my ex had fallen into this, like, really bad depression and slash when she locked herself in the room, right? So I'm racing, drop my daughter off at school with the car. Now I can't take the motorcycle to work, so I'm stressed out to the max, and then having to pick her up, and so and then, like, weird things, like I had listen to this. This is weird. Now, this is part of, like, where, like, the law of attraction during this phase felt like I was hit with the shit end of it, right? Like I had the law of attraction going on, but with the nasty, right?
Mhm.
Just every
The
encounter with
mirror image.
yeah, every encounter with random
Mhm.
people was like, a nasty one, right? And
Mhm.
then, like, this is a typical example. I had my daughter at the beach. She's 11, and we're walking down Laguna Beach, beautiful place. And she says, "Daddy, Daddy, you're dragging your feet. Daddy, you're dragging your feet. You're dragging your feet." And she starts flipping out, right? So I calm her down. I get her in the car. She's like, I don't know what just happened. She's like, "Oh." One sec.
Sure.
Mm. Jesus. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. This is stuff this is emotional. This is hitting, like, and it hits the core, shakes the
Yeah.
core, I should say.
One sec. Sorry.
Sure.
One sec.
No, take your
Yeah.
time. That's okay. That's
No,
okay.
I'm good. I'm back. Uh so so then I drive, like, maybe a mile and a half away. I get her in the car, and we pull into this gas station. Keep in mind what she was just freaking out about. You're dragging your feet, you're dragging your feet. I lock the car. She's in the air conditioning, and I go into the store. There's no one in there but the cashier, and this van comes screaming up. This guy gets out. He's wearing Birkenstocks, big dude, blonde hair, long blonde hair. Looks like an older beach bum, right? And he smiles. He's got, like, the worst, like, gritting his teeth at me. and then as he's walking down the aisle, he starts dragging one foot like as far as he can go, and he won't break his gaze from me, and then dragging the next, and
Oh
then
my God.
dragging the next, right? So
See
I'm like,
sloth?
yeah, right. So in any event, it played the inner was being reflecting in the outer, but could it be I was playing a head game with myself? Was this guy just a random dude on crack? Probably, but the universe will arrange it
Mm-hmm.
that it meant something directly for me.
A point of reflection. Yeah.
Right. Point of reflection, and really I was dragging my feet, like symbolically.
Oh
Not,
yeah. I didn't even get it like that. Whoa. Yeah.
so
He's showing you what you look like, really. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, reflection all the way.
right. Oh wow.
So all these things are going on, and there was more experiences at night. Um, yeah, I remember
What was
being
going on? And you talked about some demonic stuff, or I read it in your bio. Hopefully the AI didn't lie about that. Was
Yeah,
there
well, when I say, okay, let me be clear about that. When I say, I'm not sure where you heard that. Maybe once upon a time I had written that.
AI told me again?
Okay, AI.
Another lie? I don't
No,
usually rely on AI, but I was trying to
no.
find a
I'm
bunch of,
not gonna say it's a lie. But if I use a term like angelic or demonic, it's you could sum it down to really bad shit and really good shit. Okay, I don't want to get like religious, like
Sure.
in this sense, but really, what other term are you going to use when I think maybe once upon a time I'd written that word, um, reflecting almost like I was right there in it, because there was
Were you at
no,
Catholic church that day or something?
I don't know, but so I'll just get to the angelic. So I this being of light, right? So my ex was locking herself in the bedroom, and she comes out. I'm on the couch with my daughter, and she just jumps on me and like latches onto my arm, and my blood is coming at me, and my daughter's screaming. So I took her and we left. And I have one sibling, and she lives 20 minutes away uh, at the time in Costa Mesa. So we get over there, and I bring her inside, and I'm there for a couple hours calming her down. She's gonna sleep the night, and I knew then and there it was more than sleep the night, because this was like a period. This was kind of this wasn't just a one-time thing. This was kind of habitual. So over time, and long story short, I calm her down. It's now nighttime. I go walking out to the car, and I'm just overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed. Um I was shot, and I look back at the
You were
house.
shot.
I was mentally, emotionally,
Oh, I
spiritually
thought
shot.
you were
Yeah,
shot.
no, not
Okay.
physically.
Thank God.
Sorry,
Okay,
no, I
no.
didn't get
I
shot.
was like,
I've almost been
oh
shot a
my
couple times,
God.
but
Yeah.
no. So, I'm looking back. I look back 20 feet away at my sister's house, and hovering 3 feet above the house. So imagine like a 9 or 10 foot torso of golden, more white though, super bright white, complete torso taping down to a finer point at the end, right? There was brighter lines of light going up and down through the torso. 2 wings cupped down perfectly down to the end of the torso, and along every wing was another brighter ball of light, like about every foot, right?
Oh wow.
And it's just hovering there like this.
Like
And
a string, and then
like you know how like a little bird will fly through the air and it goes like it cups its wings and it kind of glides for a second. So it's in that position with its wings cupped like that. I'm completely floored, right? At this point. I know what I'm seeing. This isn't a kind of sort of thing that I'm witnessing. It's there. It opens up its wings. It cups again. It shoots up 100 feet and then stays, in position, right, for about 3 seconds. Does it again. Shoots up another 100 feet. Stays in position again. So it's 300 feet above me now. Still, and when it was above the root, it was super bright, but it wasn't emitting any light like on the roof of the house, right? It wasn't reflecting off of anything. It goes perpendicular, and then it doesn't stop swooping until it's like I'm watching it go, and it doesn't stop flapping the wings until it's almost out of view. And when it was almost out of view, like at the very, very last part I could see it, I see a red and a green light on the very end of what would be the bottom of the torso. And that confused me, and it took a while to put 2 and 2 together, right? So first of all, I guess what I'll summarize what I think this all meant afterwards. So I go to spend the night in a hotel. I come back the next day. It's a Saturday, I believe. Things are calming down a bit, and I know that like I had made the decision, like the family unit is just not going to be what it once was. Like time for a change, right? And so that night I'm sleeping at my sister's. So is my daughter, and I go out to my nephew's trampoline in the backyard, and I'm laying on the trampoline and bring a pillow out there, and I'm just looking above me. But what was odd for Southern California is there was a dozen bright stars above me, right? And I knew that it was odd instantly because you can only usually see about maybe 6 in California.
Right. I was going to say to see a star in the sky there would be a miracle with all the smog.
Right. Yeah. So there's a dozen, and they're paced out away from each other. Then one shuts off. When I say shuts off from being a star, all of a sudden there's no longer a starlight there, but there's a circular front craft with a more of a straight edge rear. So kind of like almost like the Star Trek symbol, how it's circled, and then I don't know if you remember that, kind of like a straight edge in the rear of it. A white light in the center, a green light on one rear corner, and a red light on the other rear corner. Okay. Hovers in place for about 5 seconds, and then slowly, silently starts to drift east, and then boom, the next light turns into that. Then boom, 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 boom. They all turn it. There's a dozen of these now above me, and they're all at different. There was no like even. They're all in like varying. Not like an organized manner, other than the only organized thing about them is they looked exactly alike. They all hovered in place for 5 seconds before slowly starting to drift off. And they all just come right over me. And so I feel, I'm just dumbfounded at this point, and I felt really, you feel like I felt like I'm in the presence of this just awesome power, right?
Sure.
And I feel completely red and, n- naked, not physically, but just everything about me was just so there to be read. And then I hear, "Do you like the news?" And then my phone starts flashing like all these, the nastiest of the nasty things going on in the planet, catastrophe, world hunger, natural disasters. It's just showing image after image after image after image. And that lasted for about a minute. And at that point, they were all beyond me. And I went back inside. Now, it took me several months to really, not, it took me a few months to, you know, because it was so shocking for me, especially dealing with everything else that I was dealing with,
Sure.
to kind of put two and two together, that angelic being of light, is the best way to just describe it. Uh, Reveal the red and the green light when it was almost out of view, right?
Yeah.
And then the next night, I mean, what would the chances be? I'm having this like massive UFO event with a red and a green light. It
I had
it
one
is well,
too, an orb, the red and the green. When you're saying this, it's when I went out and there was all these encapsulated, like I call them light balls, light spheres, electrical balls, light, whatever. But down close to the ground was a red and a green one. Now I'm wondering that's
wild.
why I'm really wondering what that means. Like you caught my
It,
attention with that for sure.
yeah, yeah. So one thing's for certain, that for for me interpreting this experience was that what I was witnessing the second night was directly related to part of this, the same thing, allied with whatever, with the angelic being of light. That's the only way I can put at it. So that was really one of the tipping points for me, is for eventually. But reflecting on it, I think that, like, much like you had spoke about trauma, when uh I think when traumatic things happen, that and then like you're really exposed, and like you're at your wit's end, throughout the ages, these things have occurred. um uh I don't know if you still hear me?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
um these things have appeared to people in their time of need, and I think it was a really good omen, that that I had basically, finally had the courage to change. And it was like I was making a really big change. I was going to break up the family unit, and it was like, kind of like, affirmative, you did the right thing, and you're, and like, we know all the other bullshit that's going on too, and maybe some of the dark things too, and
Hmm.
you know now you're on the right path. You know what I mean? so
Right.
so stay on it.
No,
um
it's a life, like the stuff that you have to go through to get where you are today. is not necessarily like, the ideal, and you should never hold shame over it because you're not who you know what I mean? This is all, I don't think we have as much control over this as what we think we do. I really don't.
No, 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 no.
Not
Yeah,
by any stretch of our imagination.
I think at one point, um, well, yeah. So and then, and then after that, the uh, the orbs started to appear. I would be getting the flashes, and I did have during that time frame. There was a few days where I had, like you had described and many other people had described, the thing with the time.
Yeah.
Time gets really screwy, you know. That happened a few times to me.
I did not like that at all. I was watching the
Yeah,
clock once and it was like there was 3 of them, like the microwave, the kitchen, and I just moved and they were all blinking. They blinked 3 times and it went from 5 to 5:40. And I even called the power company. I was like, there's something wrong with, I thought any explanation, but usually when it goes off, it goes to noon. It doesn't 12. It doesn't go to 40 minutes later.
no, no, it's trippy. It's trippy. And like I'd even have like every noise would be stopping, the insects, the birds, the construction going on next door, everything would stop, and then like 5 minutes later it would just click back on. Like that type of thing was
Yes.
was happening.
It really is hard to start to tell yourself that this is not some sort of matrix.
Yeah, yeah, no, there's and there's so much evidence that um that part of the phenomena at least has like is a master of control over this,
Yeah.
right? As
Oh, for
far as
sure.
and so I so things changed, and um I ended up really working on myself, and grounding myself and getting back into working with the kundalini energy, and taking care of myself physically and spiritually, and so I went out to Catalina Island.
Oh, I love
um
that.
yeah, that place is gorgeous. It's amazing. I went just for one night. I went for a overnight hike by myself into the island's interior, and like the whole island, other than Avalon and um, I forget the city on the western side, small town, but the name of it.
Yeah, I'm
But
trying to.
the interior is like a giant nature preserve. Like they really made it so like no one could really build on in
Mhm.
the interior. So it's but like hiking out there, I had this raven was flying next to me, and so it was going like impossibly slow. I'm walking along this cliff, and it comes like it looked like it didn't seem possible that it could even be afloat in the air. It was going so slow, and its wings are completely stretched out this entire time, and it goes like this with its wings stretched out. It does one, two, three, three flips like that, but like
Oh, wow.
going like impossibly slow, not in a dive, not going up, just with its wings stretched out the entire time. And that was uh that was wild. And then I get to where I was in a camp, and I hike up into this wooded section, this blackjack Blackjack Campground was where I was at, and I'm starting to get major orb activities. They're flashing, they're appearing, appearing and disappearing, and that lasted for probably 30 minutes. And then the next morning, I got up really early. I remember I had this wild dream of some Isaac Asimov story that how we were like essentially it was a short story I had read when I was in like seventh grade about like how we were in a supercomputer, and it woke me up.
That might be too far off.
Yeah, I know. And it woke me up, and there was a tick. Like I didn't have a tent. I was just in this open sleeping bag, and a tick was like this far from my neck. So I'm glad I got woken up, right?
Right.
And so I pack up and I start walking back down towards the cliffs, and about 150. It's the sun is just starting to come up, and but it's not. You can't. It's not up yet, but it's starting to get. They're starting to get a little bit of daylight. But about 100 feet out into the ocean, the size of a small truck, hovering right underneath the surface of the ocean, was this extremely bright, luminous light. Nothing I've ever seen before.
Wow.
And I mean, super, super bright. It was, not mistakable that there's something in there making this intense light. And that lasted for about 20 seconds, and I had a really cheap phone, with a cheap phone camera, and I was able to get one picture, and then it just skidded off into you could see it trace away under the water for a little bit, and then it just was gone. But it's the picture is not fabulous, but I do have a picture of it.
Oh, okay.
Um, so these things are continuing to happen. I once again I'm experiencing that thing during this same time frame with the time in my sister's backyard. I get the inclination to look up. This is broad daylight, and two discs in formation. Just I mean like just
Right.
super fast right over my head, just, right? Um, and then the orbs, I'm continuing to get flashed, and ended up moving back to Vermont, and I'm continuing to have these experiences, and so I formed a like a meetup group,
Oh yeah. The broken link, right?
Broken Chains.
Or the broken
Yeah,
chain, sorry.
yeah. I formed this group, and a lot of people joined, but not many people would come out to do human initiated contact events slash CE5. But there were some regulars, and but a lot of the time I was by myself, because I'm like a diehard with this now. Like I can't get enough of it. Honestly, I absolutely love it. So anytime it's starry out, there's clear skies, I'm out.
Yeah, oh
I'm
yeah.
I'm out. And so once again, I'm up at the pinnacle where I had that encounter with that guy, and I had uh, a full on black triangle, not above me like this, but out and up a little bit. So like that, to my point of view,
Sure.
it was in front of me like that, but it was completely silent, semi semi-cloaked, kind of how we had talked about before we went live, how like they want you to see it, but maybe it's cloaked so other
Yeah.
people don't.
Screen. Yeah, definitely.
Slowly, completely silently goes by, and then about 6 or 7 minutes later, same position, same size as that, but a boomerang, almost butterfly looking craft goes slowly by, and all along the wings of it
Mm-hmm.
were little dim lights that looked like starlights. So
Oh,
it,
isn't
it,
that telling? Yeah.
yeah, and it had the same, like, there's no other word to describe it, like cloaking effect on it, that it if it wanted to, it could disappear the rest of its form into the night. You
Mm-hmm.
just wouldn't see it, but
Right.
it was just showing me enough so that I could see it.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
would say that they're playing stars. I'll sit and I'll watch one out there, and I know it's not supposed to be there because I monitor the skies like it's my job, and I watch
yeah,
it, and then it's like all of a sudden, then there it goes. I'm like, gosh, you guys are good. You guys are good.
real good. Yeah,
Yeah.
you've had some really intense and close up experiences. Absolutely. Um, and so this is the orbs keep happening, and eventually I got a little better equipment. I got a recording device that's good for night vision, right? A night
Hmm.
vision monocular, um,
Oh yeah, I got
and
that.
eh, and I've gotten some really good some really good film only of the orbs. However, I have like an orb flashing every right about every 10 seconds for 25 minutes,
Oh yeah.
with other things going on, and one thing that has happened a few times is, so I got involved in have you ever heard of the Bankston method of cycling? So have you ever heard of that? So
No, I was trying to think. No, I don't think I
it,
have.
it, it's really, this guy designed this technique, and it's really for like
Is it like bikers or like bicyclers?
no, he calls it cycling, but like doing this a cycle of something.
Oh, you're
It's it,
cycling through some. Okay, yeah. No, I
so
get what
it's
you
kind of like a manifestation technique,
mean.
but the idea is he would get to this, I think he called it the super consciousness point, by doing the cycling technique, and then once he got to that sweet spot, he was doing healing with energy, and
Oh, wow.
but I got involved in that for a little bit, but not I never got involved with attempting to doing the
Like a
healing.
self-actualization type deal or
Yeah, and everything, did come to fruition that I cycled, right? So
Mhm.
I could see that this was working. And so I got the idea to, and when they say cycling, so say if you have a dozen pictures of things that you were trying to manifest, what he would do is if you would eventually have them going through your head as fast as a propeller, each picture on the propeller of an airplane engine,
like a
that
picture book.
fast,
Yeah.
right? So that fast through your mind, and uh, I would I would get a bunch of pictures of like UFOs, angels, ETs, and I would start cycling that, right? Because at this point, I'm like, I'm all in. Like, I want to experience more and more of this, right? Because it's all good, in my mind. Like you said, I think it's it was a catalyst for spiritual transformation, you know, uh, for me, purging, getting to a good spot in my life, et cetera, et cetera. And so this has happened a few times now. I will I've asked to have, while I'm sky watching and the orbs are flashing, I've asked to have a message um, sent to me either telepathically or to my phone. Then all of a sudden my Facebook link kicks on and it starts fl- flashing like you would cycling all these random different pictures of UFOs and ETs and crop circles, and it just and I've recorded that with another phone, and I have that a couple of those mixed in with my sightings that I've recorded and put on YouTube on the Broken Chains group. So if anyone
Yeah,
wants to
that's
check,
it. Somebody just posted on here that I can't see the name. I don't have my glasses on. John's videos are awesome. The channel on YouTube is Broken Chains, Human Initiated Contact Group. So he said that you post a bunch of stuff on there and on Facebook is what I was reading. Is that right?
yeah, it is. I don't know who posted that, but thank you. Was that from oh,
Oh,
there's
it's
my
from
boy.
Dan. Yeah, Dan K. Schroeder. Is that right?
Yeah, you've got to have him on your show. Dan's awesome. Dan's an experiencer, and he's had some uh, really intense UFO ET encounters, and has some excellent video. And in my bio, you were correct in saying, you know, I just kind of put it up there for archival reasons and with like some background music, you know. But Dan goes all out on his recordings. I mean, he's like time, date, position. Like, I mean,
I was more like you were. I was more like you were.
okay, yeah. Well, he's
Yeah.
a wizard. I can't do that stuff, man. You know, he's just a
Some people,
wizard at.
yeah, there's some people that are good.
Yeah.
But I was gonna ask you, I know that I can set up a call-in show. I know that it seems like the chat definitely has like some questions to ask, but if you were Dan, I don't know if you're busy either tomorrow or Sunday. I kind of cut that out of the show, but if you wanted to, I could bring you back on and we could go. So I know it's emotional. Like it gets like right down to your core. I totally understand. But if you'd like to do that, or if even next week or something would work for the both of you, we could set that up and continue if you want it, and bring in your pictures and bring in all of that stuff. I have tons too. We could have a show and tell for all I care. You know what I mean? Like that would
Yeah, I'm game. I can't this weekend, but
sure.
if we I'm sure Dan's game. I mean, if we could just find a time for all three of us to do that,
Yeah.
I know Dan's a real hip guy. I'm sure he would. I'm hoping he would love to do that, but we'll see
Well, but
his
yeah, see if
availability.
it does next, and I have the same thing. And I can look. I might not have. I can see what my schedule is for next Friday, but I know Saturday and Sunday are both open, and I know it's falling close to holidays. But if you guys wanted to, if you could get like, hey, this day would work between this time and this time, I can make it work.
Awesome,
Yeah, and
awesome.
then I'll set up the call because I know like spiritual ascension, and there's Shelly, and there's a lot of people in the chat that definitely. I'll see what Dan says here. Oh, I thought he said. Oh, yes, he said yes.
Sweet.
Hopefully he's talking to us. Thank you, brother. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so he's he says he loves you, John. That's awesome.
I
So
love you too, brother.
definitely. So if you want, I mean, I don't know if this is a good place to say to be continued, or if you want to, I mean, it's totally up to you.
Yeah, no, this is a great place. I would love to share and talk about my videos, and I know Dan is much more tech savvy in this realm. Like I wouldn't even know how to get this, you know, on to I mean, he could probably break this down in pixels for all
Oh
of
gosh.
us,
He's like,
right?
we need Dan on the team. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. You do.
No, mine were more like yours. Like when I saw it in pictures, I wasn't even paying it. I zoom in. I was like, oh, forget about the background, this. I just wanted to see what I was looking at. But yeah,
Right,
people be like,
right.
is it coming from? And I was like, I don't know where it was coming from. I was just following where it was going. You just get so
Yeah,
wrapped
yeah.
up in that moment. So I
You know,
totally get that.
so you don't, and uh, you're occupied Thursday nights.
Thursday nights, no, actually, I'm not occupied. I Thursday nights, my son typically has wrestling, but he does not have it this coming week. So Thursday, I have open also.
Okay. Um, let's let's uh let's let's keep this as an open to be continued because
Yes.
I might be able to. Thursday nights are the best night for me
Okay.
to be able to do something like this. And if Dan can, then I'm game too.
Dan, hopefully you're free on Thursday. And like I said, I can make anything work. And then chat and everybody, everybody watching on Twitter, X, Facebook, I'll post and we can do it on YouTube now too. As soon as I get confirmation from John and Dan, we can, or if Dan can't, John, I mean, I will definitely do to be continued on this because I know that there's so much more to this. I would love to get that out there, and I think it would be great. I just think this would be a great call-in show. I wish I had it set up before because I know a lot of people they were having, and then I'm asking the questions, and it's kind of they were really engaged in the conversation. I think it would be more helpful if I open that I can't talk phone line, and then we could do it that way.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think Dan's on Central Time with you too. I
Oh,
believe
cool.
so.
What time
Yeah,
zone are you in?
I'm Eastern.
East Coast, that's what I thought. So you're an hour ahead. So yeah, that if you like I said, typically run, I mean, whatever you guys can run, will do. That would work out great. And is Dan on Facebook?
Yes. Yeah. So if
Yeah, just
you
if you could open up because I don't know if I'd be able to open up a group chat with him if we're not friends, but if you open up one with me in it, then we could get it all figured out.
okay, and I'll send you his info too.
Awesome.
His
Awesome.
Facebook info so you guys can become friends on Facebook and yeah, I'm
I
into
love
it.
fellow experiencers. It's family. There's nothing.
Absolutely.
It's like an experience you can't share with just anyone. It's like I always say I know one of my own kind, and it's like it's such it's so powerful. We really are when we get together and start sorting some of this through, and the support between one another. It really is powerful.
It is. It is.
Yeah, I agree. Well, John, I want to thank you so much. And then too, let's tell people again where they can find you, your social media links. Saw you were on Twitter too. I'll have to friend you on Twitter.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't have like a huge presence, but mainly if someone's interested in seeing the videos it's on YouTube underneath Broken Chains Human Initiated Contact group,
Okay.
and then feel free to send me a friend request if they want to on Facebook.
Yeah,
Just
I was gonna see if I could pull it. I know I have it in your description too, so I can pull it up. See you on chat. Is one of the mods? Is there any way that you can access the description and throw his YouTube link up there really quick? I know I have it. I just don't. I think if I do it, I'm gonna kick myself out. But that's awesome. So you're on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitter. Is primarily where you're at. Is that what?
yes, and Dan has a YouTube channel as well where he's got some phenomenal video.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
have to get them all together. And yeah, the people like in chat, they're family. Like they all, everybody's so good at following and showing their support to one another. So we'll definitely get those out there and get those links out there so you guys can. And everybody is, I mean, just a genuine like numbers games. They're not impressive. Like people get to a point, and you really that like we were talking about before that those people that I was telling you about. It's like all of a sudden they're making up stuff or their story's like not good enough, so they have to just like keep adding and adding and adding to where it's like now I don't even know where the core is anymore. Like
Right.
there's people's
Right.
stories are good enough. Like they really are. It doesn't have to come with a big number, but it's good to have that number because then it gives you, because I remember being like with one subscriber on Twitter and nobody would answer my questions. Like nobody. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I have to build some subscribers in order to do this. So that part, and that's kind of turned into this. But that's really, it's sad but true. And I try, but it's like, you get so much, but it's so good that there are people out there that they can relate to and talk to. And you're very authentic and very genuine. And I appreciate you coming on and sharing all this because I think it's so important. It really is.
Hey, it's been a joy. It's been fun, and speaking with you, and you're an excellent interviewer. So I appreciate you asking me
I
to
think
come on, and
yes.
I'm sure you and Dan and I can showcase our stuff.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Kurt W75 found your YouTube and he found Dan's YouTube.
Oh,
Good.
sweet.
Nice
Way to go,
going, Kurt. Yeah, Kurt.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. But so I always ask before anyone leaves, what would you like to leave the audience with on the to be continued until the next time?
Let me see. As far as what we would cover the next time, or
No,
just like
just
final thoughts?
yeah.
I guess the final thought would be, that there's a lot of fear narratives being portrayed uh, around these types of experiences. Certainly, they can be scary and systematic, shocking, and but ultimately, they're real, and the vast majority of people, I think, have just have it's gone hand in hand with you know a spiritual awakening and evolution, and it's been a benefit, I think, to most people, these experiences,
Yeah.
when they look back on it. And you know I don't pretend to know everything, because I absolutely don't. That's trying to fit the ocean into a bucket.
Right.
And but I can tell you that I wouldn't change anything. Even all the heebie-jeebie shit was, I think, vastly a construct of my failings to keep my shit straight. And um, I'm just grateful that I have these experiences today. I feel privileged. It's like you've got friends in high places that want to say hello, and in many ways, such as the thing with your neck healing,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's a physical healing, or a spiritual one. I think that's one of the biggest takeaways from this, is that
That made everything worthwhile for me.
yeah, yeah.
That
And
was
I
like
guess
that trade-off was like so huge. Like when you don't think you're going to get any better, when you don't see outside, another path or another way, it's, that starts to close in awfully quickly.
I think I'd leave it with that, Coley. And I'm happy to hear that's your perspective as well, and I know Dan's is the same. So.
Dan said Thursday night is great. Would love to share space with you both. So Dan is down for Thursday. So everybody listening, something's going on Thursday. We're just not exactly sure the time. But if you and John, if you and Dan want to send in, you want me to put stuff on the back end of StreamYard so you don't have to like click through files, or I'd be more than happy to do that, to take some of that off of your hands if you wanted. Otherwise, it's sharing the screen. We can do that too. Whatever works best.
Sure. I'll have a comment. Dan will hopefully tell me what the best way is to be able to share that. I'll get a hold of him before Thursday.
Okay.
And you, but yeah, anytime after 8 p.m. Eastern time works for me.
Yeah, 7 p.m. is great. That's usually when I do shows anyway. So or 7:30, whatever, 8, it doesn't matter on my end.
Sweet. Awesome. Yes,
awesome. Well, thank you so much, John. I really appreciate you. And I know everybody in chat, everybody's saying great show. Good. It's nice that they are really relating to a lot of what you're saying. So we really appreciate having you here. And it's a lot. I know it's a lot, but to get some rest, drink lots of water. I know it is. Yeah. Just and check in. So just so you know, there's so many people out here that love and care about you, and you're not alone.
Oh, that's
in any
awesome.
of this. Yeah. So I will say goodnight for this evening. So that was amazing. I just absolutely, experiencers, they have such a special place in my heart, as everybody knows. And it's so wonderful to have each and every one of you here with us. So this is amazing. We're going to have something set up for Thursday. Get the phone lines going. So that way, at least you can call in and you can ask your questions directly to John and Dan. And I think that will really help bridge the gap that I was kind of seeing in some of it tonight. So on behalf of SNX Radio, thank you for taking the journey into the unknown. We are going to say have a great weekend. Stay safe. And have a great weekend and enjoy. Hopefully it's not freezing where you're at, because it is freezing cold and we're getting another storm as I speak. And I think we're dropping down into like the singles. So I will be inside. Other than that, all's good. Be good to one another.
SNX Radio invites you to unravel the mysteries of the cosmos with us as we dive into UFOs, cryptids, and everything otherworldly. As we navigate the night, we investigate the unknowns that spark our curiosity and challenge our understanding of reality.